All right, we had a crazy action of Calcio with some very, very weird results. I'm looking at you, Juventus and Milan. But of course, the cream of the crop. It's Napoli against Inter. That was the headline for this one. Could Napoli come back after their 6-2 debacle against PSV Eindhoven? Were Inter true contenders for the Scudetto with Christian Kivu? All to be determined in this one with four main talking points. In this one, obviously, Conte and Lautaro take the cake, but there's some other things that happened in the matchup. Let's get into it. So in these big games, always controversy strikes, and before we get to Lautaro against Conte, there were other fireworks, other controversies that got into this game. Of course, we're talking about the penalty call, or was it not a penalty call, in the game with Di Lorenzo. So early in the game, defensively, Mkhitaryan's trying to defend Di Lorenzo, who's coming into the box. Clash in between the two players. Di Lorenzo goes down. Penalty call, and it went into VAR. Very controversial. Did Mkhitaryan get his guy? Did Di Lorenzo dive? Was there enough for a penalty? That was the question everyone asked. Ultimately, a penalty was awarded to Napoli and Di Lorenzo. Kevin De Bruyne would step up and score the goal. Got injured in the process. But this, as always in these kind of big games, controversy rears its head. And this is the first controversial point in this game. And you have people on both sides saying yay or nay. Obviously, Pepe Marotta says BS, not penalty, not a foul. No one didn't even touch him. Other side, people are like, no, Di Lorenzo got clearly fouled. I've seen the replay. It was a rather soft penalty. I will say that. It's pretty clear it's a pretty soft penalty. But, as I will say, don't put yourself in positions to give the referee make a decision on you. Inter put themselves in a position. Di Lorenzo obviously got into the box, trying to score a goal. Penalty was awarded ultimately, and Napoli take the lead through the controversial penalty in the game. Now, obviously, the penalty is going to be the big talking point in terms of goals for Napoli, but let's not overlook what happened. McTominay with a sensational volley, Anguissa with a goal as well. Two wonderful goals there for Napoli. The counter supersede the penalty that they scored. Yes, you can say, well, this kind of triggered the whole thing. Pepe Marotta even said, that penalty kind of kicked 90 things and put us in the back foot and made a disadvantage for us. Sure, you still got to play the rest of the game. And Napoli, through McTominay and Anguissa with those goals, fantastic play by them. You got to give them full credit for scoring on those goals there. And it's not only that, it's a statement win for Napoli. Obviously had a huge loss in the midweek against PSV, 6-2, which no one saw coming. AC Milan, viable threat for Scudetto this year. AS Roma, same thing. Napoli were not in first going into this weekend. What would happen? Obviously, AC Milan dropped some points against Pisa of all teams. And so there's an open window there. What would Napoli do? Sure enough, they stepped up and they got the results. They got a huge statement win saying, we are absolutely going to be vying for the Scudetto once again. It's going to be difficult for them, obviously, because they got the Champions League. That always throws a wrench in Conte's plans. His teams usually suffer in both competitions. We'll see what happens here, but it seems like, in Serie A at least, they have their foothold at the moment. They regained the top spot with a win. AC Milan's loss, and Roma did win as well. They're tied now, but based on goal differential head-to-head, Napoli in first place. But what a statement win there for Napoli. Now, on the flip side of that, you look at Inter and their credentials. Are they Scudetto contenders? I've kept saying that I'm not believing in Christian Kivu. They've had some impressive results, especially in Champions League. Obviously, in the midweek, they won 4-0. This is a good team. This is a super talented team, maybe the most talented team in Serie A outside of Napoli. But the coach is a big thing, and in big games, has he done enough yet? Not many games thus far, but the big games they've had, Christian Kivu has been subpar in terms of managerial. The players have performed. The coaching decisions and stuff like that, I've been unimpressed with Christian Kivu, and as a result, I don't think Inter will be Scudetto contenders. However, a top four seems like it's more than possible, more than likely, because Juventus is also faltering, and Tudor may not make it. You may not see any panettone this Christmas, but certainly Inter are a top four contender, and who knows? I mean, with Champions League going on for Napoli, Milan being inconsistent, Roma never know what the heck we're doing them. They're in double competitions as well. Anything is possible with Inter. Super talented team, so we cannot take anything away from them there. Now, we obviously have to go back and talk about the headliner, the attention grabber. That is Antonio Conte against Lautaro Martinez. We've known of their history, the two players, not always seen eye to eye, even when they're on the same team. Inter scored in the 61st minute to make it 2-1 at that point. And all of a sudden, you see on the sideline, Lautaro and Conte getting into a shouting match. Unsurprising, really, between these two players, two people who are very thick-headed, very combative. Absolutely roll over it. And I think the neutral loved watching this. Even the supporters of their own teams love watching this. I think Lautaro at one point looked over to Conte and said, "You got to be shitting yourself now, huh? Because we just scored a goal. We're coming back." And of course, Conte is not going to take that. And he shot it back at Lautaro, went back and forth, looked like they were ready to fight each other. They've had these issues in the past when they're in the same team, as you mentioned, during substitutions and this and that. It's not the first time we've seen a player and a coach from opposition trying to go after each other. Hell, we've seen, like we said, Lautaro and Conte, we've seen other players and coaches on the same team do it. But this is not the first time we've seen, I mean, Mourinho's done this in the past for sure. Several other, Pep Guardiola's done this as well. So this is not a new thing to football. But when you have rivalry, a big game like this, it's going to boil over at some point. Whether it's the players on the pitch, the managers on the sideline, or a combination of both. This is what you had in this game. That has kind of raised the stakes in the game, especially at 2-1 at that point. Everything on the line. Inter looked like they had momentum at that point. What a huge moment for that. And then after the game, Beppe Marotta saying, everything was going against him. The penalty was unfair. Christian Kivu was, disadvantaged, this and that. And then Conte coming back and said, "Oh, you're just talking all the time. You're creating alibis for your team, making excuses." This is continue on. This is obviously something that happened when Conte was at Inter, and then that love lost there, and he left them high and dry. Obviously, they went on to win the Scudetto again. But there's no love lost there between Conte, Marotta, and Inter, and so talking trash to each other after the game. You gotta love that there. Fun back and forth. You expect it. You expect it from Conte. It's nice that he's doing it against the opposition, not his own team. Big change for him, right? But a huge, emphatic win. Huge for Conte. Huge for Napoli. They're back on top of the table. And the rest of Serie A is going to take note. This is a legit team. And yes, they are frail in the Champions League. They're going to be in too many minds in different places. But when it comes down to it in big games in Serie A, you cannot discount Napoli whatsoever. And great result for them. 3-1 win. So, a couple comments for you. Let us know in the comments. A, was that a true penalty? Should Napoli have been given a penalty there on Mkhitaryan on Di Lorenzo? B, who's more at fault? Who do you back more, Conte or Lautaro in that spat? Who's to blame in that one? Let us know in the comments below. And cannot wait till these two teams play again. But the season's very long way to go. Obviously, three main threats at the moment right now are Milan, Roma, and Napoli. Inter is there in the background. Juve, who knows where they're at the moment. But exciting Serie A. Love it. Can't wait to see more. Let's see what happens here in this upcoming weekend. All right, ragazzi. Catch you soon.